Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to answer a question that burned in our minds when we first started looking at power supplies, portable power supplies like Jackery's and others, and we're sure it burns in your mind too. When you go out to look for a portable power station to augment power outages or to take for camping or to use for work or do whatever in your home and your business, the question always gets asked, how much power can this thing put out? We had that question when we bought this Jackery Explorer 2000 Pro back in 2022. And we also had the same question when we bought our second Jackery Explorer 2000 V2, which we're actually setting up today because today we're going to answer that question for you. We're going to show exactly how much power we can get out of the Jackery Explorer 2000 V2, which is our newest Jackery that we have. As you know, we have three Jackerys. We have two Jackery 2000s, and we have baby Jackery, our little Jackery 100 here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause the camera. We're going to go over to the new Jackery 2000, and we are going to set it up like we did at the last video. We're going to set up the refrigerator. We're going to set up the freezer, but this time we're going to let it run at least 9 hours. Now, this won't be a 9-hour video, but we will take snapshots along the way, and so you can see how we're doing. And I think we're going to get a lot more than 8 hours, which is what we initially expected to get out of that Jackery to run both our fridge and our freezer. So Mary's going to pause the video and we'll get set up. All right, we're back in play here. This again is our new Jackery Explorer 2000 V2. This is a lithium iron phosphate battery unit. We had it plugged in yesterday and we ran, which I'll show you again. We're running our 21 cubic foot refrigerator with a 7 amp compressor in the kitchen. And then in our sewing room, we've got a small manual defrost freezer that has a 5 amp compressor. And those are the two items that we're running. So now what we found out when we did the initial test was that we'll run up about 300 watts and then we'll have about 7-8 hours of power. But we found yesterday that these particular units, unlike some big fridges, actually shut down when they reach their cooling points. So then we use less than 100 watts of power, and that's the reason for this test. So here we go. I'm going to just zoom the camera in. And this way you guys can see the display. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And you can see that we're at 100% with no input or output. Now I'm going to plug in the freezer, and you should watch the input, or the output rather, jump as the freezer compressor fires up. It probably should be about 1200 watts. Here we go. Wow, it actually went up to 1961 watts. Now this machine again will run 2200 watts regularly, and then it has a surge rating of 4400 watts. So we're well within the limit on the machine. So we're going to let that run for just a second or two. We're now at about 128 watts. Now we're going to go ahead and plug in the fridge, and let's watch the surge here. Okay, nothing's happened yet because the fridge is actually at its cooling point. So when the fridge turns on, we will get a power reading. So we're just going to let it sit like this. So we're at 100%. We're currently burning 126 watts of power. According to the display, we have 14.3 hours of power left on this Jackery, which is absolutely fantastic. We know that when the refrigerator kicks in, we'll have less of that because obviously our wattage usage will go up. But let's just let it run. We will check back with you guys and we'll see where we're at. We'll talk to you again at about 90%. All right, everyone, we're back here. We just went from 95 to 94% power. So what I'm going to do is just zoom in here. You can see that 94% power is left in the lithium iron phosphate batteries. We have 193 watts being consumed right now, 191. And the Jackery tells us we have about 9.1 hours of runtime. We have a refrigerator running right now. We also have the freezer running right now, and we know that because we're running nearly 200 watts of power. We were not able to catch the surge of the compressor when the refrigerator came on, but that's fine. What we're looking for is the long-term run, just to see how much power we can get out of this Jackery. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Hey everybody, welcome back. We're at 94% power, and just before I touched this video screen, we were running about 191 watts of power. And what that meant was that both the refrigerator and the freezer were running. The refrigerator just kicked off. We weren't able to catch the surge on the fridge, and that's fine. What happened on the screen was we were running at about 191 watts, and the Jackery told us we had about 9.1 hours of battery power left. And you can see now that with the fridge having shut down and the freezer still working, now it looks like we have nearly 15 hours of power left on the Jackery. So that's the kind of thing that happens as our machines cycle on and off. So where we initially thought we could get 8 hours out of operating this Jackery to run both our refrigerator and freezer, it may be possible that we get a lot more, and that's the idea of this test. So far we've been running about 40 minutes. We'll see in a few minutes. All right, we're back. We're at 91% on the Jackery right now. I'm just playing around with the display to make sure it's refreshed right, and I'm going to zoom in that a little bit. It's 11:40 a.m. here, and you can see that there's no output right now. Both the fridge and freezer, as we suspected, have reached their cooling set points, and they have just shut right off. So right now we've got about 99.8 hours, which is just a default when there's no output, of power left on the Jackery. So we're at 91%. Nothing is running right now. We will get some surges when these machines start up as they need to, when both the fridge and the freezer on their own time start up again. We'll check back with you when we are at about 80%. All right, it's now about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and our Jackery is reading, let's zoom in on here and take a look. We're reading 79% power left. We're burning 107 watts right now, and we have 12.3 hours of power left according to the Jackery. Now again, if we're running at 107, right now the freezer in the sewing room is running, but the refrigerator is not. That's why it's where it's at. You'd see another about 100 watts. I'm going to turn that on again. You see another 100 watts if the fridge were running. So our saga continues. Right now it looks like we have enough to run our fridge and freezer till 2 in the morning here. Okay, I added a clock here to make it a little more realistic. It's 25 of 3, and you can see as we zoom this camera in a little bit, we're at 77%, and we're running 0 output right now. Both refrigerator and freezer have reached their set points, and we're showing 99.8 hours again. So when we last checked, we were at 12 hours of runtime, and this kind of thing extends it. So we'll see again at about 50%. All right, we're back again. It's 4:30, and we're going to go ahead and zoom in on this guy one more time. And we are currently at 66%. We're running 191 watts, and the machine is telling us it has 6.5 hours to go before the Jackery runs out of power. Now we know it's going to run a lot longer than that because we've already found the last few times today that the refrigerator shuts off when it reaches its set point, and so does the freezer. So this is pretty exciting. It'll be really neat to see where we're at 50%.